And yeah, like what do you think is like the main thing right off the bat after getting the CDL? What skills like just do you think is the most important skill for a truck driver?
Being able to shift, being able to use the clutch.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to use the clutch. You're gonna find yourself in situations where you're on a grade and you need to take off without rolling back. That's important. Yeah, that's important. Absolutely. So yeah, I would say other than and again, just depending on what type of job you're doing, backing might not be the most important thing, but yeah, just the basic operation of a truck when you get out on the road and get around other cars and traffic and stuff like that, shifting is going to be a big deal. For me, I know when I first started driving a truck, I had a habit of pulling into spaces that trucks didn't belong. And I'm local, you know what I mean? Like I don't go very far. So I don't stop at truck stops too much,
Okay, yeah.
It's just not part of what I'm doing. But when I do stop at a store, I don't do it anymore now. But I was famous for stopping at a store that wasn't designed for trucks to get into, and I try to wiggle up in there and I'm like, I got enough space, but it's cars zooming around you all over the place, so
yeah,
you don't
I can see that happen.
Yeah. So making sure before you pull into a spot that you've never been in before and you don't really know what it's like when you get in that spot, like pull over to the side of the road and get out and go and walk in the lot before you pull in there, just to make sure you can get in, you can turn around, you can get out if you need to. You won't have that problem with pulling into a place that you're going to unload or load at. Most of those places are going to be big enough for, trucks to get in and out of. But like I said, for me, I don't stop at truck stops because there's just not that many along my route. But when I stop at, a 7-Eleven or something like that, I'm thinking I can get in there. And sometimes, I have a problem getting out. So yeah, those two of the big things I would say as far as basic operation of the truck, being able to shift efficiently and then like not going into spaces that trucks aren't designed to go into. Like if you're not sure, pull over. If you got to stop right in the middle of the road or right in the middle of the lane, if you got to, throw your flashes on and get out and walk in that lot before you pull your truck in there and realize that, that you can't get out. Those are two of the biggest things that I had to deal with when I first got my CDL.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's great advice, yeah. Because I don't want to be stuck inside a grocery store parking lot with my truck for like an hour trying to find a way out of there.
Yeah, can't get out. I've had to back a guy's truck up for him because he came in a lot and he couldn't get out. And he was just forward, back. And eventually he came and knocked on my truck. And I met him halfway over there. And I'm like, you need some help. He's like, yeah, man, can you help me out? And that's embarrassing, man. That's embarrassing trying to ask somebody else, can you get in my truck and can you back me out, man? But, it's all good. I ain't giving him a hard time about it. But some people will. Some people will be like, no, I ain't helping your ass. You got in here now, you got to get out. So, but yeah, you definitely want to pay attention to those things. But I mean, how do you feel? You feel comfortable behind the wheel?
Yeah. Yeah, it was all about just getting used to the truck and its dimensions, So after the first few days, I was just driving around. I actually got comfortable with the truck, but not comfortable to where I feel like I mastered, of course, because I need like way more time on it just to feel like I mastered it. But thankfully, the double clutching part I got down packed. I drive stick shift anyway, so that helped me. Now there's some people drive stick shift, but they don't know there's a
difference.
There's a difference, yeah. You have to master the RPMs and miles per hour a lot more, So after a few days driving around, I got comfortable driving the trucks, double clutch and everything. Yeah. So they told me for the CDL. I'm not sure if back in the day, the CDL, you had to do the double clutch and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have to do the double clutch the same now.
But you ain't gonna use that when you get out on the road. I'm guessing you know that.
Yeah. I was watching videos. I thought I actually had to do the double clutching, but then it's just all matching speed and everything, which makes it way more easier.
Yeah. You're gonna find out when you get the truck to the right speed that the gear shift will fall out of gear when you get the truck to the right speed. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're gonna have your hand resting on the gear shift, and when it get to a certain speed, it's just gonna fall out. You ain't even gonna be pushing it, So yeah, you definitely don't have to have the clutch to shift. You're gonna need the clutch when you're taking off, You know what I mean? Or maybe
man.
when you're going up a grade with a load and you want to shift, sometimes you need the clutch then, or when you're going down a grade, when there's pressure being put on the drivetrain, you might use the clutch in situations like that, And I think that's the reason why they make you double clutch, because you need to prove to them that you have the knowledge of how to use a clutch. And that's the only way to do that, is to have a student double clutch, So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to that part of the exam, but I know definitely I have a checklist there. I'll send you that checklist, even though it's from some parts I think of the older exam. But one thing is definitely new drivers should know about is like not coasting with the truck and stuff like that. I think they actually prefer you now. They find you coasting for like a long distance or whatever.
Yeah, you couldn't do that when I tested either. Yeah, you couldn't ride around with the truck out of gear. You had to keep truck in a gear.
Yeah. So like when I was talking with the trainer, that's what he was saying. Like, think about it like safety first. Like always in gear in case anything happens. The gears will stop the truck, or So that's just another, like, I think is a key point for like whoever's going for the CDL and stuff like that.
Yep. So are the rest of those backing maneuvers, as far as are they the same? Did you still have to do, you told me about the forward stop and the straight back and the offset forward, and you're still doing back offset from both sides, from driver and passenger and blind side. I would assume you're still doing that, right? And when it comes to you're not doing offset backing to the driver side and the blind side no more?
No. Nah, all that stuff's been eliminated. So the basic, in essence, you're just like driving forward, doing the forward brake stop with the bumper.
Yeah.
Then you're just driving back in a straight line. Then from there, you're going to as if the truck was parked, and like reverse parallel, like pulling out of a parallel park position. And then the reverse parking, which is parallel parking.
So you're doing reverse parallel, but only to one side. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
Only to the driver's side.
Yep.
You're not doing it on the blind side.
Nah.
Are you doing 90 degree or alley dock where you back around like that? You're not doing that?
Wow. Nah, yeah. So that's wild, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I would think that out of all the stuff from the previous test, that's the one that will keep from
the alley dock and the 90 degree parking, it's the same thing. But yeah, I would think that, and I would also think they would have you doing any maneuver from the driver's side and from the blind side. I would think that they would have you doing both, but you're saying you ain't doing driver's side and blind side when it comes to parallel, and when it comes when it comes to offset. Are you doing y'all still doing offset? Offset, back up like that and back up like that. You probably can't see. You're not doing offset at all.
Nah, no.
So hold on. The only backing maneuvers that you're doing is straight back and parallel.
Exactly.
That's the only backing maneuvers you're doing.
Yep.
That's crazy.
So it's like they simplified the whole
alley dock. Yeah, 100%. They simplified the whole thing.
They really like, I guess, helping people get their CDLs now, because it's like the pre-trip was way simplified. The parking maneuvers are super simplified.
Super simplified too. Yeah. I'm curious now if the road test is more simplified. I'm really curious about that now.
Yeah, I did I'm gonna do it Wednesday, so
you'll know.
I can follow up with you and
I would like to know. Yeah, I would definitely like to know. I mean, I guess that's a matter of perspective, man, because when, as drivers here, if that's what's going on in every state for the most part, they've taken off offset from the driver and the blind side, and they've taken off 90 degree parking from the driver's side and the blind side. Some drivers will say that's not good. Some drivers will say, man, they need to be practicing on that stuff in CDL school, the same way you feel that they should be practicing on how to couple and uncouple the truck in CDL school. I would imagine a lot of drivers going to say that. I see some of these drivers out here with the jobs that they're doing. They really be having to flex their 90 degree alley dock parking skills. Again, that's not a backing maneuver that I find myself having to do, but I see pictures of people, you know, they'll get into a spot and they'll post it up on Facebook or whatever. I see a lot of times these guys are having to really flex those alley dock parking skills. So you would think that they would have guys practicing on that in CDL school. I'm really curious as to whether they've eliminated all of those backing maneuvers in Virginia as well. I'm so curious about that. I'm gonna have to inquire about that and ask around to a couple of people. Definitely.
Yeah, I think California is doing the same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there anything I can help? Anything else I can get into with you?
Nah, not really. Thanks, man. You've been like, hey, I love your channel, man. You like,
appreciate it.
Yeah, you got a lot of good content there, you know. Yeah. And it's real informative. It's really it's been a source of information for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I look for my goals for the future, you know.
Yep, I appreciate it. And I meant to tell you before I got on here, I hadn't really necessarily made a plan to put this video on YouTube, but you know, I would like to. How do you feel about that if I was to put this on YouTube?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I'll actually, if you want, we could do a follow-up after the test or whatever.
Yeah. I'd be cool with that. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yep, definitely.
And I'll find those resources and I'll send it over and stuff like that. But for sure, now it seems like it's way more streamlined. The test is way more geared towards people being not so much on the truck itself, but more on the people being able to drive it. And so the parts are not as important to memorize as the actual just maneuvers and stuff like that. Yeah, so I'm gonna go get that CDL. I'm gonna go for it, and I'll get back to you, and I'll let you know how everything was, man.
Wednesday is the final part of your test. That determines whether you get your CDL or not. What you're doing Wednesday?
Yeah, so the test is into 3 parts: the pre-trip, the maneuvers, and then the road test.
Are y'all still doing an air brake test?
Oh yeah.
Still doing an air brake test?
Oh yeah, that's the first test. So if you get that part wrong,
you can't even go to the next part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing that I guess students really have to focus on, because off the bat, even the guy that went to do the maneuvers test, he had to do that all over again just to make sure, so the instructor knew that he's driving a safe vehicle. So yeah, they did the air brake test, the service line of the service brake leak test, 4 psi in 1 minute, and make sure that all the emergency
alarm pops on, make sure the brakes pop out, all that good stuff. Yeah, that sounds pretty much the same then.
Yeah, even if I pass the pre-trip, so when I go for the maneuvers again, I'll still have to do that part again.
Makes sense.